you want a basic introduction to thread chasing with the mechanical tool?
Oh, yeah, Billy Bird asked for that special.
Sure.
Hey, Walter, I got a
Absolutely.
suggestion.
Pardon?
Walter, I got a suggestion.
Yeah.
Usually on a cold day or when I don't want to do anything else, I'll make about 6 or more of the tenons and mortises. I just throw them out where they'll fit together. That way, when I'm doing a piece, I already have a set ready to go. All I got to do is
I do that. In fact, I've got probably 5 or 6 sets of these things already for some vessel, and they're all about the same size.
Okay.
Because if I'm making an urn, I need enough room to put, the ashes in.
Yep. Well, never mind then.
No, but the same thing with finials and Christmas ornaments. If I'm making finials, I might as well set up and make 20 of them and throw them in the drawer, because making them one at a time isn't very efficient.
I just thought I'd throw that out there.
Yeah, thanks. It's a good suggestion.
Very good idea.
So if I'm going to hand thread on this just to make a mortise, I'm going to round over this edge. And I'm going to put some relief in the back.
Can we camera view?
And the chaser that I'm using is a double-sided tool. This side's for the outside. This side is for the inside of a mortise. And I'll do an outside, and then I'll cut a little hole in there and do the inside just to show you the threads, the difference in that. And you're really turning. This may not work so good with the cherry. We'll see. But we're turning it at about 300 RPM. This button came off, Tom.
Oh no, you broke it. You're gonna have to,
Yeah, I know. I feel bad about that.
you're gonna have to buy him a new lathe now.
Can you
Turn the rheostat all the way down to the low position, and then point the thing at the one at the.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. Okay, we're going to turn this to, I think, 1. So we're going about somewhere between 200 and 500 RPMs per minute. I think we've decided this was about 300. And the trick, I think, and Eddie, correct me if you're wrong, you've done this more than I have. The trick is just get this thing started in the corner so that
45 degree.
You're getting some threads going, and it's kind of a circular motion. And you come around.
This is where the flatness of your tool rest and the cleanness of your tool rest comes into play.
Yep.
And I love that robust.
It's a scraper, so you've got to have it level or down.
Typically, it's best to do the recess the female threads first, and then do the male threads final, because it's easier to take material off of the tenon, the male threads, than the female.
Yeah, it's easier to modify the tenon than it is to modify the mortise. So that's why you want to do that first. And again,
that's the threading jig I use.
The tendency is to taper it. And I mean, it's just because you're coming around from the outside, and
Yep.
leveling it off. I mean, when you're coming around from the outside, you don't tend to give the back enough credit. So once you get those threads started, you can start coming in, letting it, and it's very crumbly. If I were going to try to do this with cherry, I would saturate it with super glue first. I mean, I'm trying to do it with cherry, but it's not giving me very good threads. They might work, but it wouldn't be very good threads. If I do that with African blackwood, I don't know what you can see. Give myself a little relief here.
And so, folks, that's the Mike Mahoney threading.
This is
GPI by Carter.
Mike, it's a Mike Mahoney tool.
Yep. Very intuitive, very easy to use.
Again, I'd want to round off the top a little bit. And then come in.
For those asking about the relief cut he just put in, watch what happens when he goes across the face of it. Relief cuts give him a place to get out.
And instead of
Otherwise, you'll bind and tear up your thread.
instead of crumbles, you get these fine shavings, and that's what you want. Those fine shavings give you a nice clean thread that you've cut. So this just is a matter of practice and timing. If you're going to cut softwood, I think the jig does a better job than hand threading, because you're not going very fast with hand threading. But hand threading, there's a whole lot of less setup. I mean, if you got your threader and you've got the pieces measured, you don't have to set up your jig to do something. But it does take some practice to be able to do this.
Repetition.
Any other questions? You want me to do the inside one?
Please.
Sure, go ahead. Demonstrate that as well. Well, what speed are you turning at? About 300 RPMs?
About 300. I don't know
Okay,
exactly,
yeah,
because we haven't got a RPM meter on here, but we measured it before with a tachometer, and I think it was around 300, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's about 300, 350 that I thread at with that threader.
So if I'm going to do the inside on this one, I'm going to turn it back up to cutting speed.
And for your tool presentation, do you present it similarly like any other scraper?
For which tool?
For the Carter and Son there.
I'll show you.
On center, but raised up.
Yeah, you're cutting just slightly above or at center.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
trying to square it off a little bit. Again, here it's a good idea that you check it. Yeah, see how square you are with it. And it's still, I'm tapering. It's tapering out this way, so I have to come in a little bit on the bottom. But I'm going to cut a relief. I'm going to use that little scraper tool I made to cut the relief, because when you do the when you put this tool in there, if it hits the bottom, it'll stop and then it'll strip out your threads. So you need a little place where it won't hit the bottom. You can get it out before it hits the bottom. That makes sense?
Just like on the outside, you have to give the threader some relief.
Yeah. On the inside, though, you're cutting it so that when you come in with a tool, you can get it out before you hit the bottom of the wood there.
Exit one.
And you, they make these tools that you can buy. I think Crown makes them. Storby makes them. Okay.
If you have an old useless scraper you don't use, you can modify it. Watch the heat. You can modify and make your own.
Right.
You know, like those freights.
So I want to double check that I've got a little rounded area here. If I come in on it square and I catch one of those teeth on that square, it's not going to be good. It's not going to want to go in at all. I've learned that the hard way. Even everybody tells you that. All you have to do is forget it one time. So if I take this tool now, and I don't want to start at the very end, I want to start in the middle, and I just want to. The problem with African blackwood is you can't see it. And the tool does the work for you, basically. Once you get that thread started, it'll pull itself in. And it's your job to get it out of there before it hits the end on the bottom.
Remember, that was a demonstration of how to apply the interior and exterior threads. He can't screw this together. If he does, he'll make Demonstrator of the Year.
No, I don't. Right. It's just a demonstration on the interior and exterior threads. Just what hand chasing is, but it's the same operations. Basically, you're making your mortise first, as someone else said. You know that it's easier to adjust the tenon than it is to adjust the mortise. So you make your mortise first, and then make a tenon that will fit into it, and then adjust it so that it fits into the vessel that you're making the insert for. And it's just a matter of doing it and practicing a bit, and no matter how you do it, whether you do it by machine or whether you do it by hand, the operation is pretty much the same.
Yep.
And
Same principle.
Eddie, believe me, has one of the best videos on thread chasing on the web. And the other one I would recommend is Alan Batty's on the web. If you Google either one of those, thread chasing Alan Batty, thread chasing Captain Eddie, you'll get the best of the videos there are for thread chasing.
I agree.
Well,
And the reason being is they explain, leave in all the tricks to it. There's several others out there that do a lot of threading, but they don't include the tricks, which are vital to being able to thread correctly.
Right, yes. And again, there are a number of videos on using the machines also, rather than rather than a thread chaser. There are a number of videos on the machine. Some are better than others. And you have to, if you watch a couple of them, you begin to think, oh, okay, that's what I need to do. And the instructions that come with the machine are actually pretty good if you read them.
If you read them.
If you read them, what turnip does that?
Yeah, right.
Right.
I think it's a
Exactly.
man thing.
Those are the
Well,
operative
that is-
words.
You did a great demo, buddy. I really appreciate you coming through for me. It's awesome. You did an awesome job.
Oh, thank you.
I
Appreciate
got a
it.
question.
Good demo, Walter.
Go ahead, Brenda.
What was the name of that last tool you used?
The tool?
Yeah, the
This
tool
is actually the thread chase. The difference between this tool and the original tool that I gave away is this one has a slight negative rake on it. And the tool I gave away was straight across, flat across the surface of the cutters or the threads. These are kind of a helix threads. And that difference with the little bit of negative rake made a whole lot of difference, in my opinion, of getting the thing started without catching.
I agree. Hey, Tom, can you do a overhead camera shot? And then Walt, can you re-explain the negative rake end of it on there?
It's just the top surface. This is a scraper. Let me see if I can get it in focus here.
It looks pretty good. There you go. Put it out a little further. There we go.
Can you see that slight little bit of bevel on
Yes.
the top
Yes.
surface? On the bottom
Yes.
surface looks flat. Okay, looks like that.
Does
That's
that mean
flat.
that you could sharpen those by just like running a honing card across
Yes.
that bevel?
Yes,
Absolutely.
okay.
Yeah.
that's
Thank
how you
you.
sharpen them. I don't know if I brought a hone with me. I don't think so.
But it must be a fine grit when you hone it. Not
Yeah,
one of
this is like
I use
a
1,000 grit diamond stone on mine.
this is a 45 micron diamond sharpener, which is the roughest of the ones that come on the paddle. But if you just take and you go across that bevel, you can put an edge on it. You can feel it. It's not the same burr that you would get on a
On a gouge or a regular scraper.
my scraper here. Okay, if I want to put a burr on this scraper, if I take the burr off, I want to put a burr on by coming across the bottom like this to get a burr that sits right up here on top, right on this edge. But on these scrapers, what we're actually doing, we're coming down like this, and we're not removing the burr so much as we are sharpening that very edge, because originally they're sharpened. It's sharpened against a wheel that has a radius, so you do get a bit of a top edge. What do I say? The edge grind from the radius of the wheel. But you can come across that after doing this a couple times. You can touch it to the wheel, a very fine grit wheel like 180 or more, and just touch it against the wheel and reestablish that fine curve in there. But most of the time, if I'm going to sharpen it, I'm just going to do this. And that will do it.
Yep.
Especially, I mean, if you're using blackwood,
I have to find out if
no
they have
contest.
replacement
If you're using softer wood,
plastic.
it just doesn't work
I
well
think.
with real soft wood. You can flood this with CA glue and harden it, or if you have a stabilizer system for punky wood or something like that, and put it in a vacuum jar with cactus juice and bake it, you'll have wood that's hard enough to do that. But why not then just use well, not Bakelite, what do you call it? The countertop material.
Corian.
Oh, Corian, yeah.
Yeah, you can get black corian. They look almost exactly like blackwood, right? And it's a lot cheaper. Okay, well, thank you all. If you haven't got any other questions.
Thanks, Walt. It was great.
Thank
Yes,
you.
well,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. I learned a lot tonight. Thank you.
Great
Thank
job,
you.
Walt.
Thank you, Walt.
Good job.
Great job.